Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B, and today is day 13, day 14. See, I'm so chilled out, I don't even know what day it is. Of my 100 days of chill the fuck out. That is my mission, to help me regulate my nervous system. And what does that even mean? Because, this awakening path is, as I've said a million times, it's cuckoo-cuckoo. And there's been one thing, or multiple things actually, that have been sorely missed in this awakening process. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about the sacral chakra, the sacral chakra, and because it seems to be coming alive. It's alive! It's alive! I brought us down here because I want to enjoy some beautiful sunshine and share with you the water energy that is behind me, because the second chakra, the sacral chakra, is all about our waters. And you might hear in the distance behind you some men working, building a barn, doing manly things. So I've got a great view. I'm going to just sit back here and watch the men be men. I dig it. And that's part of the sacral chakra as well. So the sacral chakra is all about pleasure, joy, play, adventure, community, and sensuality. And all of those things have kind of been offline for me for most of my awakening process. There's been a severe absence of fun. Where's the fun? Where's the community? Where are the hot men? Where's the joy? Where's the pleasure? Where's the play? All of those things left the building with Elvis, man. They just upped and walked out. So today I'm going to talk a little bit, because what I am noticing in this last full moon, this Mead moon, bring it, baby, we're still in the post-shadow period of it, has made, I've jumped timelines. It's like I've gone through a portal. And all of a sudden, the energy is different. The pushing, I need to accomplish, I need to heal something, I need to build my business, I need to work, I need to is been put onto the back burner. And Spirit came up with this 100 days to chill the fuck out. And what is coming in very short amount of time is nothing short of miraculous. I believe I mentioned in a recent video that I found a local community of witchy women. Like, what? I've also found a community online of Kundalini women. I also have my groups, if you want to join those groups, to talk about trauma and awakenings and all the walk-a-doodle stuff. Those are on Wednesdays and Fridays. So community I'm receiving. Praise Jesus. Praise Jesus. It's been lonely. A lonely time. Yes, my monk era seems to be coming to a close. So let's talk about a monk era and what is it? It wasn't like a self-imposed, I made a decision one day and used my willpower to I'm going to live like a monk. That's the last thing I wanted to live like. Hell's to the no. But it was necessary. It was 100% in my highest and greatest good to be lifted up and put into isolation for a period of time and living like a hermit. For many reasons, okay? So this all is tying in here. And now what's happening is it's like the gate has opened and I am going back out into community and I'm meeting people. I'm socializing. I went to somebody's house for dinner and had lovely conversation and connection with her and her husband. What is even happening? Like I haven't been to somebody's house for dinner. We're talking years. I can't even remember the last time. I also went and visited my dear friend Melissa Spearing's mother, who lives locally to me, which is something that I've wanted to do for a period of time. Those that you don't know, she is my friend that passed away 2 years ago. So another connection has been made, and I know I'll see her again. And I'm so grateful for that. It was lovely being there and feeling the connection to her energy and in that space. Oh, I had to pause for a moment because I just got a delivery with a bunch of stuff that I ordered because I'm going to be hosting in-person community gatherings over at a local resort here. That was what I was in discussions with when I was over for dinner. So I ordered myself one or two things to make a setting. So yes, community. Welcome. I welcome. I sit back and I receive. When we go through an awakening, we often, it's not just me, lose our attachments to family, to friends, in relationships, because a lot of the times, well, with me, and if you have trauma, those are codependent, toxic relationships. So one after another, after another, after another, I lost everyone, except my son. And in so losing everyone, I went through an extensive grieving period, a lot of Waters energy, up and crying for years. And then I went through a phase of being tested. You know, people would come in and God would be like, are you sure? Are you sure you learned your lesson? Are you sure you're not going to repeat some of the things that you used to do? So weird things would happen and I'd be like, this is a test. Sorry, no. So even though I was so lonely and so depressed and wanted people in my life, instead, I was like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work because I don't tolerate certain things. My boundaries have changed. My expectations have changed. My needs have changed. And so people pleasing, fawning, and sacrificing self, being the martyr, was no longer on the agenda. So to learn to not be a martyr required becoming a monk for a period of time and being with self, so that I could get comfortable with my own energy and know my own energy, because as an empath, boundaries can become blurred energetically when you're constantly, connected to somebody else's energy and processing through their stuff. So it's been a necessary part of the process for me. With this area coming alive again, it's very strange because Spirit has kind of put me in playtime. And, normally there's been times when I've been like so consumed with knowledge and research and reading and taking in as much information as I can to fill this area up. And then there's been times that I've been like, gotta do yoga, gotta work, gotta walk, gotta be a spiritual warrior, And in my chill the fuck out era here, which is helping me integrate into this new reality, there's a lot of rest. There's a lot of play. All of a sudden I'm playing again. And to be honest, I haven't played in years. And when I say play, it's going to sound a little bit cute, but I've downloaded a couple of apps on my phone that are just like little kids games, because I don't want anything that's got a timer or anything that's violent or anything that's like stress involved. Just like silly little puzzle kind of games. And I'm building a little town. There's that game that's like, you get to build a town and have sheep and make wool sweaters. I don't know. So I am just playing. And it's weird. It's very weird for me when you haven't played for years. And I want to talk about that for a second. The absence of play in our lives. On this awakening, more and more, I know that everything is meant to come and collapse duality. So if you're all work and no play, it makes Johnny a dull boy. Is that it? and Jack, a dull boy. And I've been a dull girl for a period of time. And the reason for that is when you're in a narcissistic relationship or a toxic relationship, they suck the fun out of the room. Like, they suck all fun away. And for the decade more than that I was living with my ex, there was no fun. Like, where was the fun? Like, maybe once a year we would go to, like, a rock concert or go to something. But, like, no, there was no fun. There was policing of fun. And, you know, like, I'm a fun person, believe it or not. But I am a fun person. From the time I was 15, I was going to nightclubs and I used to go dancing. And, you know, like, I love music. And I love just, you know, getting out and dancing and getting into my own little world and vibing and laughing and having a good time and all of these things. And over the years, it happens so slowly that, you know, there's this crisis or that crisis. So you're never able to have, like, any fucking fun. And anytime any fun does come along, it's policed or there's a crazy concocted scenario to cause reactionary abuse. So over the years, fun left the building. And, like, for example, in the entire time that I was with him, we never once went dancing. And, like, I'm now in retrospect going, like, that in itself was such a huge red flag, because literally from the time I was 15 until my mid-30s when I met him, I would have gone dancing at least a minimum once a month, if not 4 times a month. I would have been off to the clubs and dancing because that was my thing. That's what I liked to do. And to not have gone once, even though I said it, and we live near a university town where there was lots of clubs, and I asked for, I think, about 8 years to go canoeing on the Grand, or to go hiking one time. Like, can we go hiking? You know, so the fun leaves the building, and when you become deprived of fun for an extended period of time, your pleasure center dries up. And, you know, Gabor Mate, who I sing his praises of all the time, wrote a book called When the Body Says No. And so now we're going to get into a little bit of the woo-woo topic, which is sensuality, and because that's your pleasure center. And that completely died through my relationship, because my body was saying no. There's no joy here. There's no safety here. There's no pleasure here. There's just chaos and crisis and overwork here. And when somebody is constantly, not carrying their own weight in regards to keeping things in balance, you know, like a healthy masculine energy is somebody that, like, hey, I've made us a reservation. We're going to this restaurant. We're going on this holiday. We're getting it done. That never happened. Nothing like that. If there was anything that was going to happen, it was because I bought the tickets. I made the plans. I did the work. So I was the masculine in the relationship. So why would I be attracted to this person? So warning signal is to listen to your body. You know, your sexual desire is a barometer, and when it's like flatlining for a period of time, it's not hormones, it's not you're a woman of a certain age. I always had a high libido, and then it was like the deep freeze. And of course, because everything gets twisted around, it must be me, it must be hormones. You go to the doctor and they're like, oh, well, you know, I've put you on antidepressants and that kills your libido. And so sorry, sucks to be you. And you're like, okay, whatever. I'm living in And so it became a chore. It certainly was not enjoyable in no means. And then this weird situation with this twin flame came in, and all of a sudden I started feeling feelings that I hadn't felt in years. And that was, you know, it was like, it's alive! A great thaw. But because of the nature of this journey, you know, that pleasure center was activated, as everything was activated when I had my Kundalini. And then I went into my monk area. We went into separation and we didn't speak again. So nothing happened, but just the feelings did. The feelings of I would like something to happen. I would like to have masculine energy in my life. And so I'm sitting out here checking out some masculine energy because 'tis the season. So they say. It is spring. There's a song, oh, who is it? By Joan Jett. Birds do it, bees do it. Even you and me should do it. Let's do it. Yeah. See, I'm just full of giggles today. But in this energy that's activated and just taking time to play, taking time to rest, taking time to go paddle boarding, which I did this morning over into the marsh over here, which was amazing because I've never seen this before in my life. Sorry about the wind. I hope it's okay. The carp are spawning. There's these giant carp that are like, they're jumping out of the water. They're doing all kinds of things. So I just went and I sat in amongst the carp, watching them all like doing it. Now I know for them it may not be as pleasurable. I don't know. I'm not a carp. Maybe it is. Maybe it is very pleasurable jumping around in the water and rubbing up against. I'd like to jump around in the water and rub up against. Yes. So it's very strange. I feel a sense like the winds of change are upon us, moving me out of monkdom and into sensuality again. Like really feeling and experiencing my sensory system, my body, the wind, the birds, the sun, the beautiful views, the smells. You know, aside is I'm always looking for different ways to heal. And nearby in the local city, which is about a half an hour away from me, they have a spa that's called a flow spa. And they have one of those flotation tanks, water energy. And I was thinking to myself, you know, oh, that could be cool. That could be an adventure, you know, because I want adventures in my life. And I went and I was in there for about 2 minutes and then I was up and out and I was like, no, not for me. Give me back my senses. I was numb for so many years that I don't want to be sensory deprived. It felt miserable. I did not like it, you know, because it's pitch black. You're in this tank and it's silent, and I was just like, no, give me back all my senses. I want them back online. So lucky he didn't charge me for it because I literally was only in there for 2 minutes and I was already starting to feel anxious. And anxiety is a fun killer. It's a fun ruiner because you're like, oh no, social anxiety. What are people going to think of me? Oh no, what if I say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, wear the wrong thing? What if people judge me or say nasty things? And so that prevents you from just being you and just having the right to feel. So this sacral is the right to feel. And more I've been getting into my senses as opposed to getting out of my senses. My style of dress has completely changed again because I need to now have soft fabrics. And if it's not soft and not cozy, I'm not wearing it. And I need comfortable shoes and I need comfortable clothes, you know. 4 years ago, I was all excited to fit into a string bikini, and now I'm like, get me the biggest, like, most comfortable swimsuit that I can find. Like, I'd wear one up to here now, because it's just comfort. I just want to be comfortable. I want to have my body experiencing pleasurable sensations, whether that is percale sheets. Yes, I'm going to spend the extra $1 for a percale sheet. You spend an awful lot of time in your bed. A weighted blanket. Yes, I'm going to spend the money on a weighted blanket to give me that sensory feeling of being held and comforted. Tastes. I find myself craving different foods now that for a long period of time I was like, I can't eat that. Rigid. So I've put on a little bit of weight and I don't really care because I'm treating myself. Of course, it's minimal in compared to like what other people call treats, but like I bought myself some raw cocoa and I'm making myself raw cocoa and yogurt with a little droplet of vanilla and some honey. So it is a treat. It's just not put your definition of pudding, but I'm making pudding for my inner child, and I'm making homemade popcorn in coconut oil with Celtic salt for my treats, and I'm enjoying them thoroughly. I'm giving my body the nutrients that it wants, that it craves. I'm not depriving myself in any way, and I don't think people should deprive themselves. I think people need to find healthier alternatives when it comes to food and things like that. So the energy that we are in right now is this new energy, beginnings. It's still a little bit wobbly because we haven't like settled into like a consistent, grounded new state of being. It's all in flux. It's all up, but it's tingly. It's exciting. It's sensual. It's sexual. You know, it's nice to feel alive again. You know, our sexual center can't be activated and alive when you're in a state of fear and in a state of like survival. Like, I need to like survive whatever I'm going through. If you're in a state of braced energy, you know, you're clenched, and you know, one of the other areas that I'm working right now is the jaw. There's a lot of stuff being cleared in the jaw area, which I have been informed relates to the sacrum. So when you do sacrum work and you know, stretching and clearing out, which is the sacral area, it also replicates itself. Like the body like repeats itself over and over and over again in the jaw. So I've been getting some TMJ massage, which is a little bit but I think worth it because I've been clenching for so long and, you know, constricted. And if you're clenched and you're constricted, you aren't fully enjoy. And like, I can always know because I can feel when I get my furrow on, you know, all these lines on my forehead are my like, I'm so stressed out. And so as I begin to like relax more and allow myself some nice sensory creams on my face or whatever experiences, what's happening is my body is softening. My body is softening. The ice is melting. The constriction is clearing, which allows for greater energy flow. And I'm digging it. I am digging it. It's still, my mind is like struggling with like, you should be more productive. You should have this. And then I'm like, shh, you should just play a little video game because that distracts your mind, you know? A little puzzle game has the mind focused on something else so that your body can start to relax, because the nervous system gets pinched and closed off when all the muscles and the fascia and everything else is tight and restricted, and there cannot be joy in that. There can be no flow. So I am learning now what post-survival is like, what recovery is like, what experiencing life through sobriety is like, what fully embracing what God has provided with me. And even though I'm still fluctuating, which makes sense because our brain chemistry when in these toxic relationships gets hijacked, and so physiologically the detox process takes a period of time when you have to regulate your cortisol and your adrenaline and your dopamine. They're all over the place. And so we want to get into a place of greater neutrality. And the way to do that when you've had an absence of fun, work too much, is to play too much. A little bit of play too much. Go into the opposite energy of everything you've always done to collapse duality. So if you're always work too much, then play too much for a period of time. And if you're always play too much and you need to get more practical and more serious, then it's time to do some work. So, and that's how you're going to collapse it and bring it back into a neutral place. So I'm done with deprivation. That's not an energy that I'm going to live in. I'm going to open myself to receive abundance. And that means abundance in health, abundance in joy, abundance and all of this is going to bring me up further vibrationally into an abundance of bliss. And then I'll magnetize in even more opportunities, more adventures. I've already planned my next 2 adventures, and there's been very few adventures that, like, there's been mishaps, you know, but there haven't been adventures that have been fun. And so I'm doing a road trip at the end of the month to go visit my son, to give him a hug. And I am going to a festival in August, at the end of July. I can't remember what, that weekend. And so that's 2, and those will help prepare me for my big adventure, which I'm still like, I don't even know if I'm going to do this. I've been in Dark Night of the Soul for so long, but I have booked myself on a cruise. Now, it's not just any cruise, and maybe by me telling you, I notice one thing about myself is when I tell you guys something, it's like accountability for me. It's motivating for me to keep going, keep doing. So my big news, and I did say a while back, I planned something. I am going on a cruise to Croatia. And it's not just any cruise. It's a cruise hosted by Gabor Mate. And this is a trip of a lifetime for me. And it kind of is the reward that I feel like I deserve. Mentally, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm not there yet. It's massive. I've been in this awakening path for so many years, holding on for dear life, treading water, staying alive. And so I need to relax my nervous system and get all my brain chemistry regulated through my 100 days of chill the fuck out and doing mini adventures, you know, like driving to see my son is a 3-hour drive, and I have to drive on one of the biggest highways in Canada. So that's going to be a big thing for me. And going to a festival with hundreds of thousands of people is also going to be a big thing for me. And all of these things are preparing me to get on an airplane by myself and go on a cruise with my hero. So yes, let's start experiencing some joy, some fun, some pleasure, some sensuality. I'm sorry. There's nothing sexier than a man with a power tool. I'm human still. I am still human. You know, there's another thing that is about being in balance along this spiritual awakening. If I'm in my monkdom, there's a lot of teachings, you know, spiritual teachings that I've butted up against. And for a period of time, yes, maybe it's necessary to be celibate for a period of time. And maybe it's necessary to live alone and be a monk. Maybe it's necessary to deprive yourself of certain foods. Maybe it's necessary to go through the poverty consciousness, you know, your vow of chastity, your vow of poverty, and clear those, right? And that's what we're doing. We're clearing old stuff. I talked a little bit about clearing ancestral wounds in my last video, but part of that is clearing these. So you might be finding in the energy now that you're clearing the martyr wound, you're clearing the lockjaw and not speaking up for yourself wound, you're clearing your fun and balancing fun versus work, you know, have a little bit of both of those things in your life. You might be clearing the witch wound, the fear of persecution, which prevents you from fully being your authentic self. You may find yourself clearing a vow of celibacy and saying, okay, I'm ready to move into new energy. Hello. I don't know what's coming for me. I have no idea. But I am going to sit in openness, in relaxation, and allow myself to receive the unfolding of God's plan for me. It's not about manifesting, which, by the way, this whole area is very much needed for your manifestations to come through. Now, for me, I've said in many videos, I don't believe in setting manifestation like specifics. I believe in saying, can you bring me to my highest and greatest wealth timeline? Can you bring me into my highest and greatest living arrangement timeline? Check. Got that one sorted. Can you bring me into my highest and greatest success story? Can you bring me into my highest and greatest relationships, partnerships, and adventures? Can you bring me into my highest and greatest? And that is my prayer at the present moment in time. There's a lot of prayer to keep settling the mind, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time. I always joke that divine time is slower than island time. Because if anybody's ever gone down to the islands, everything's chill, it's slow. So right now, I'm living in divine, slow time. And I'm good with that. It's not going to be forever. It's going to be a season. And do I fucking deserve it? Damn straight. Damn straight. After everything we've been through on this awakening path, we deserve to have 100 days to chill the fuck out. 100 days in a lifetime, that's nothing. That's nothing. So I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat some lunch and enjoy listening to the manly men with their hammers going. They're building a barn roof off across the field. And I'm sending everybody so much love. And my wish for you is that you enjoy your day in some way. Finding the joy. Find the joy. Where is it? Is it hiding? Hee! It's out there, playing with the carps. Mwah! Peace. In.